Why do we spend what little time we have buying things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't even like? Before you jump into any entrepreneurial pursuit, freelance, side hustle, whatever it might be, you've got to answer yourself a question. How are you defining success? That's not a rhetorical question. That's a question that demands an answer. I'm not asking how others define success. Sometimes our definition of success is imposed upon us by other people, or we openly plagiarize it from other people. But how do you define success? What are the indicators of it? How would you know that you've actually achieved your definition of success? Here's a better way to ask that question. How do you want your everyday to feel? You see, this is less of a professional question and more of a deeply personal question. The way people typically define success is wealth, possessions, and fame. And speaking of wealth, possessions, and fame, I want to talk about Chris Rock, the comedian. In 2014, he was interviewed on NPR about the legacy of his career, and he was asked at the end how he defines success. So I want to read an excerpt from that interview. Here's Chris. What is success? Success is just hanging out with my kids. I always say that if you have options, then you're rich. Is your career allowing you to do other things? Because if you can only do one thing in your career, then you're not successful. But if you can jump around and do a few things, then you have really attained some success. To me, success is the fact that, hey, I just did a movie. Maybe I'll do stand-up. Maybe I'll write a book. Maybe I'll do a play. Like, I literally don't know what I'm going to do next. That's success. I didn't get into show business to work every day. It's about having time. That's what success is to me. Time is our greatest currency. And the trick is, we can only spend it. We can't make it. And it's remarkable how we find ourselves spending what little time we have. You see, most of us were sold someone else's dream. We were sold someone else's definition of success. We're told what the indicators of success are. And here's an example. Owning a home. Owning a big home. Owning a big home in a nice location with nice schools and beautiful interior trim. Throughout my entire adult life, I have owned several homes, and I've built a couple along the way. But today, I don't own a house, and I don't even live in a house. Right now, I rent a townhome. And if you're unfamiliar with what a townhome is, it's essentially a 3-story apartment with a garage on the bottom. And I have to say that I am pretty addicted to the rental townhome lifestyle. I mean, in the past, I toiled over the homes that I owned. I don't miss mowing the yard. I don't miss pulling weeds. And I don't miss caring for diseased trees. I don't miss paying thousands of dollars to contractors to update my plumbing. I don't miss having a basement to throw all my worthless junk in, taking up all the square footage that I'm paying for through a mortgage. When I first moved into this townhome, like 5 things went wrong. And all I had to do was call the landlord and it was taken care of. And thanks to a community association, I have beautiful landscape that I don't have to care for. When it snows, someone else shovels my driveway twice in a single day, if need be. I have 2,500 square feet on top of a garage, 3 bedrooms for my kids, a balcony and a patio, both overlooking a wooded lake view. Imagine how much time and energy I am afforded in my life by not toiling over the maintenance of a home with a bloated mortgage. Will I someday own a home again? Yeah, but it's likely going to be investment property that I'm going to rent out or use on Airbnb. I'm likely not going to live in it. You see, renting this townhome right now gives me this simple lifestyle that makes room enough in my life to spend time and energy on other things that I'm interested in. And it also gives me the freedom to change locations every few years if I wish. So I don't measure success by ownership of a home, or by possessions, or by wealth, or by fame. Because I've been told my whole life, and I believed it, that those were the universal definitions of success. And I was wrong, and I was miserable. It reminds me of what a preacher friend of mine used to say: why do we spend what little time we have buying things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't even like? So how do I define success? Personally, I define success by time and freedom. Time and freedom to pursue what I wish, create what I wish, and travel where I wish. Once I determined how I truly defined success, I started to take my business and wrap it around that definition instead of vice versa. And I have very little interest in arbitrarily growing my business into this huge thing that robs me of time and freedom. I choose freedom as my definition of success because I always want the option to chase after the next thing that life is going to throw at me. And defining that was very hard fought for me. I made a million mistakes along the way, took a lot of unnecessary punches in the face because I wasn't being honest with myself. I was taking on someone else's definition of success, and it was killing me. So I'm turning that question around to you. How do you define success? Silence the haters, silence the critics, silence the talking heads. How do you define success? What would it feel like? What would be the indicators of it? Is your definition of success wealth, possessions, and fame? Fine. But there are a lot of definitions out there. Is it just spending time with your kids? Is it taking on creative pursuits? Is it the ability to travel? Is it accomplishing some great good in the world? What is it? You have to ask and answer that question for yourself before you take on the toil of a pursuit. Because if you don't answer that question for yourself, all you're going to do is find yourself working long and hard for nothing. Thanks for being part of this conversation. Please comment below. If you see yourself becoming a freelancer, side hustler, entrepreneur, business owner in the future, then be one of the smarter ones. I invite you to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Also, check out a couple links I have below. One is a survey that's going to help me understand your world a little bit so that I can give you some content that's going to be useful for you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of this conversation. We'll talk again really soon.